Hey, let's talk some soccer. So, with the Club World Cup about to kick off or kicking off now, I think for all MLS fans, we're kind of wondering the same thing. How is Inter Miami going to do? Right? They kind of gave them a weird way to qualify. I don't know if you know, it's supposed to be like the regional um, teams or continental teams. Like if you win the Champions League, you qualify. Maybe Europa League. I'm not exactly sure, but I know it's like the AFCON, and for us it's supposed to be CONCACAF Champions League, Champions Cup. And last year, Miami did not win the CONCACAF Champions Cup. Seattle Sounders won CONCACAF Champions Cup, which is why Seattle Sounders are in the FIFA Club World Cup. You might say, why is Inter Miami in there? Well, obviously, we know the real reason. It's because Miami, Luis Suarez, Jordi Alba, Busquets, it's because they're on Inter Miami, and David Beckham owns it, and it's great marketing, and it's great advertising for the MLS, and people will tune in if Messi is playing. That's the reason. The official reason is last year, if you don't know how the MLS works, throughout the season, there's an Eastern Conference and Western Conference, and whoever has the most points at the very end of the season out of both conferences is considered the Supporters Shield winner. Last year, Inter Miami set I think a season record of most points in a season, and they took the Supporters Shield. Now, I think they got bounced in the first round of the playoffs to a younger, faster Atlanta United, and if you watch those games, it was actually pretty sad because I'm thinking Supporters Shield, record-setting, Miami, Messi, these guys are balling. They had some pretty good young guys. Diego Gomez, who I think now plays in the Premier League, he left. And coming off the bench, Leo Campana. He hasn't been doing good at New England this year, but I thought he's always been a really good guy off the bench, at least for when he played for Miami, even when they had Higuain. But under no circumstances was it ever on the books that a Supporter Shield winner is supposed to qualify for a FIFA Club World Cup. But when the people that win the Supporter Shield the year before a FIFA Club World Cup is Inter Miami, led by Lionel Messi, they get in. We already talked in my last video of how LAFC got in with that one-off playoff with Club America, which I think is hilarious because obviously if you look at where LAFC's games are being played, they clearly scheduled these games thinking Club America was going to be the teams in them, where they would have a huge supporting, fans coming out, selling a lot of tickets, a lot of merchandise. And now guess what? All those venues get LAFC. I'm not sure how well LAFC fans, how widespread they are. I know in LA, where you're either Galaxy or LAFC. If it was anywhere on the West Coast in California, you'd probably sell out those games big time. I don't know how many people are going to just come out to support a quote unquote random MLS team in North Carolina or Atlanta or Orlando. I hope they come out. I mean, obviously in Atlanta or North Carolina, wherever they're playing their first game, they're playing Chelsea. Chelsea can put butts in seats, but let's be honest. Chelsea versus Club America in the United States, it would have sold easy. So we'll just see how that goes. But back to the original question. How is Inter Miami going to do in this tournament? I mean, I know that my heart wants to say they're going to do well. I don't even know if they're going to get out of the group. I think that they have a chance if they can get a victory in this first game against Al Hilal, which I believe is like one of the roughest, toughest teams in Africa. If they can get any kind of result against them, they have a chance. But aside from that, look, let's look at it with reality. The way the MLS is set up, you can have 4 aging stars that are so good that the net positive of their entire season is they can end up winning enough games to make the playoffs. Last year, they even were the number 1 team going into the playoffs. So, but the MLS is different because the way it's set up, you don't have to win the league to be somewhat successful. It's kind of, I get it, but it's still kind of weird. You could finish in 7th, I think, or 8th place in your conference. So you could be like the 16th worst team in the MLS and still make the playoffs. So Miami making the playoffs in the MLS, they can lose a bunch of games and still make the playoffs, and we can still get excited for them to get there. Now, what they do in the playoffs, that's a different story. But in a tournament like the FIFA Club World Cup, there are no games that you can take off or that you can afford to lose. So if they drop any points in this group stage and they get knocked out without making it to the knockout round, I think it'll be extremely disappointing and considered a failure. Do I think that they have more of a chance of making it through than not? My heart says that they're going to make it through. My head says it's going to be very hard. I say that not because I don't believe in Messi, Suarez, Busquets, and Jordi Alba. These guys are still balling. They like in their moments, they are amazing, and they're like the best ticket in MLS. The problem is the same. Like, I watch these guys every week though, so I'm not just going off of like dreams and hopes. And I also watched their first round game last year against their first round playoff against Atlanta United. And let me tell you what I saw. And let's just say that the likelihood of these teams in the FIFA Club World Cup being similar in pace as Atlanta United, but being higher in quality is problematic, because Atlanta United did not beat Inter Miami in the best of three series because they were more technically, able or sharp. They did not beat them because they had higher soccer IQs. In both instances, the guys on the four main guys in Miami, they have a higher touch. They have a better touch than anyone in the MLS, and their IQ is off the charts. The problem is, at this level, even with MLS guys, if you have a 21-year-old guy that can run 4.2 40 while controlling the ball, running downhill, and then can shoot a rocket, you get what I'm saying. It doesn't matter how good these guys are technically or IQ wise. All the other teams really have to do is out hustle them, because they don't have the legs to perform at that level anymore. And I think this FIFA Club World Cup is going to expose that on an international level. So for people that don't watch the MLS, they can see, oh, Miami won the Supporters Shield last year. Oh, they went out in the first round of the playoffs, but they scored some goals. And, they're doing okay this year. And I see the highlights, and Messi still scoring the goals. The problem is now people that only read headlines and only see goal highlights are going to see what's really going on with Inter Miami. And unless they pull out a rabbit out of the hat and a miracle, just the pace of the game alone at the FIFA Club World Cup is going to be very difficult for Miami. What I will say Miami does have going for them is Messi still has it. He is still at the highest level. And there's a new forward, I think his name is Adenda, something. When he gets on the end of Messi's passes, he knocks in some goals. Messi's good for a couple goals. Jordi Alba's good for some good runs, some good defensive play, some good crosses. And if you give Luis Suarez the ball anywhere in 10 yards or so, I'm calling it right now, Luis Suarez is going to score some goals. So if the thing that Miami has going for them is that the other teams might be underestimating them. And if you give them any kind of opportunity, these guys are so good that they will punish you. So do we think they're going to get out of the group? You guys let me know. I think it could go either way. I think the one thing that Miami has going for them is that the other teams are going to underestimate them. I think the main thing they have going against them is the speed of play from these other teams might be more than they can handle. But we'll see. The tournament's getting started off this weekend, and I'm excited to watch. All right, see you guys later.